Hello and welcome to the news from Bahrain International. I am Aisha Ibrahim. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa was at the forefront to receive the representative of His Majesty the King for Humanitarian Work and Youth Affairs and captain of the Royal Endurance Team, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, upon his arrival in Bahrain following his victory in the World Endurance Championship for 160 km held in Abu Dhabi with the participation of 126 riders from 36 countries in a new historic global achievement added to His Highness's record of regional, continental and international sports championships. His Majesty expressed thanks to the UAE for hosting the World Championship and all the support and facilitations it provided for the participants, which contributed to its success, as well as the wide international participations, which enhanced the UAE's leadership. The championship strengthened the UAE's status and global reputation in hosting major international sports championships and events. His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, the National Guard Commander General Sheikh Mohammed bin Isa Al Khalifa, the first Deputy Chairman of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sports, SCYS, Chairman of the General Sports Authority, and President of Bahrain Olympic Committee, His Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa, and the Minister of the Royal Court, Sheikh Khalid bin Ahmed Al Khalifa, were also present. A group of students also greeted His Majesty the King and His Highness Sheikh Nasser. His Majesty the King and His Highness Sheikh Nasser headed to Sakhir Air Base, and 2 rows of Guard of Honor saluted His Majesty and His Highness. Members of the SCYS and heads of sports federations and authorities greeted His Majesty the King and His Highness Sheikh Nasser and congratulated them on the outstanding achievement as a world endurance champion.
His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa is the great supporter of various sports in the Kingdom of Bahrain, and this support comes to advance Bahrain's march in various fields, especially the sports field, particularly the Bahraini endurance sport. His Majesty has always praised the achievements of Bahrainis in terms of championships and hailed the advanced results in international races, which established the kingdom's high position and distinguished record on the endurance racing map and gave an honorable image to the efficiency and ability of Bahrainis. As a result of the royal support, the representative of His Majesty the King for Humanitarian Work and Youth Affairs, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, won the World Endurance Championship that was held in Abu Dhabi recently, which is a clear affirmation that this authentic Bahraini sport enjoys the support of His Majesty the King that led to achieving advanced positions in many local, regional, and international participations.
His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, in the presence of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, received 70s Formula One champion Sir Jackie Stewart to greet His Majesty on the occasion of his visit to the kingdom to attend the Formula One Gulf Air Bahrain Grand Prix 2023. His Majesty welcomed Sir Stewart and thanked him for his visit and for attending the global event hosted by the kingdom, and highlighted his popular achievements through his Formula One career. The meeting also included discussions regarding Formula One races and the role of such sporting events in enhancing communication and closeness among nations in a way that deepens friendship and culture exchange. His Majesty wished the guests a pleasant stay in the kingdom. Sir Stewart expressed thanks and appreciation to His Majesty the King for the warm welcome and generous hospitality, and congratulated His Majesty on the win of the representative of His Majesty the King for Humanitarian Work and Youth Affairs and captain of the Royal Endurance Team, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, in the World Endurance Championship. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa issued Edict 9 of 2023 on restructuring the National Committee for Childhood based on the proposal of the Minister of Social Development and following the approval of the Cabinet. According to the edict, the National Committee for Childhood shall be chaired by the Minister of Social Development and comprise the following members: Assistant Under Secretary for Community Development representing the Ministry of Social Development, Director General of the Women's Police representing the Ministry of Interior, Head of Early Education Licensing and Follow-up Department representing the Ministry of Education, Director of the Women's Support Center representing the Supreme Council for Women, Head of the Family and Child Prosecution representing the Public Prosecution, Director of the Radio representing the Ministry of Information, Director of Labor Relations representing the Ministry of Labor, a senior resident physician in the Pediatrics Department at the Salmania Medical Complex representing the Ministry of Health, Head of the Human Rights Affairs Sector representing the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Head of the Department of Psychology representing the University of Bahrain, head of the Youth Creativity Center representing the Ministry of Youth Affairs. The legal advisor at the Ministry of Justice, Islamic Affairs and Endowments, representing the same ministry. Executive Director of As-Sanabil Orphan Care Society, representing the same society. Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Future Society for Youth, representing the same society. The entity mentioned in item 12 shall name their representative at the committee. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister also issued Edict 10 of 2023 amending some provisions based on a proposal by the Minister of Housing and Urban Planning and following the approval of the Cabinet. According to the edict, a new article, Article 2 bis, shall be added to Edict 56 of 2022, promulgating the issuance of zoning regulations for construction across the kingdom. It shall read as follows. License applications prepared in accordance with provisions of the zoning regulations for construction across the Kingdom of Bahrain, issued by Edict 28 of 2009, shall be accepted as long as they are submitted before September 1, 2023. His Royal Highness issued Edict 11 of 2023 on restructuring the National Committee for the Elderly based on the proposal of the Minister of Social Development and following the approval of the Cabinet. According to the edict, the National Committee for the Elderly shall be chaired by the Minister of Social Development and comprise the following members. Assistant Under Secretary for Social Welfare and Rehabilitation, representing the Ministry of Social Development. Head of the Elderly Care Department, representing the Ministry of Social Development. A strategic planning expert, representing the Supreme Council for Women. Director of the Pension and Benefits Directorate, representing the Social Insurance Organization. A geriatric consultant, representing government hospitals. Nursing Supervisor for the Mobile Medical Unit, representing primary healthcare centers. Secretary General of the Bahrain Philanthropic Society, representing the Bahrain Philanthropic Society. Chairman of the Executive Committee, Secretary General of UCO Parent Care Center, representing the UCO Parents Care Center. Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Bahrain Parents Care Society, representing the Bahrain Parents Care Society. Deputy Chairman of the Board of Directors of Al-Hikmah Retired Society, representing the Al-Hikmah Retired Society. The entities mentioned in item 5 and 6 shall name their representatives at the committee. Members shall serve for a renewable 3-year term. Members of the committee shall elect a deputy chairman during their first meeting. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister issued Edict 12 of 2023 on restructuring the Higher Committee for Persons with Disabilities, based on the proposal of the Minister of Social Development and following the approval of the Cabinet. According to the edict, the Higher Committee for Persons with Disabilities shall be chaired by the Minister of Social Development and comprise the following members. Assistant Under Secretary for Social Welfare and Rehabilitation, representing the Ministry of Social Development. Director of the Social Rehabilitation, representing the Ministry of Social Development. Director of the Compensation and Unemployment Support, representing the Ministry of Labour. A consultant physician in government hospitals, representing government hospitals. Director of the Educational Operations, Director District 1, representing the Ministry of Education. Director of Wages and Benefits, representing the Civil Service Bureau. Chairman of the Bahrain Association for Parents and Friends of the Disabled, representing the Bahrain Association for Parents and Friends of the Disabled. The President of the Bahrain Paralympic Committee, representing the Bahrain Paralympic Committee. Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Bahrain Mobility International Center, representing the Bahrain Mobility International Center. The entity mentioned in item 4 shall name their representative at the committee, provided that their rank is not less than a director. Members shall serve for a renewable 2-year term. Members of the committee shall elect a deputy chairman during their first meeting. His Royal Highness also issued Edict 13 of 2023 appointing Iman Abdel Fattah Matar as Director of Institutional Development at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, based on the proposal of the Minister of Foreign Affairs. The Speaker of the Representatives Council, Ahmed Lemsellem, chaired the weekly meeting where the Council approved a decree by law to amend GCC customs law. The Council then approved 7 proposals regarding disbursement of diesel compensation amounts to fishermen, conducting an urgent study to establish a mechanism for dealing with low wages for female national workers in nurseries and kindergartens, restore electricity to a number of mosques, holiday during the last 10 days of Ramadan, reducing working hours during the month of Ramadan, organizing the opening of admission to some academic majors at the University of Bahrain and private universities, and a proposal regarding the government studying the conditions of companies and institutions that face financial difficulties and decides on a financial support package for companies and institutions affected by the repercussions of the Ukrainian crisis and those that are still affected by the repercussions of the corona pandemic. The Deputy Prime Minister Sheikh Khalid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa visited the Ministry of Works to follow up on the progress of the ministry's infrastructure development projects. The Deputy Premier affirmed the government's keenness on expediting the provisions of infrastructure and the sustainability of the necessary financing to be in line with the Kingdom's urban and investment development, in light of the growth and building process led by His Majesty the King and with the follow-up of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister. Sheikh Khalid bin Abdullah noted the importance of infrastructure development projects in new residential towns through connecting them to modern and advanced road and sewage networks. The Deputy Premier hailed the efforts exerted by the Works Ministry staff and their contributions to the development of infrastructure, commending the engineering, technical and administrative expertise of the ministry's national cadres who contributed to the growth and development process. Sheikh Khalid bin Abdullah was briefed on the ministry's plans for the current year and coming years to implement over 120 projects to connect thousands of properties to road and sewage networks in all the kingdom's governorates through a program funded by the revenues of the Municipal Shared Resources Fund. He was also briefed on the ministry's ongoing projects in the road, sewage and maintenance sectors. For his part, the Minister of Works affirmed the ministry's keenness on providing infrastructure services according to the highest quality standards to achieve the goals of the comprehensive development process led by His Majesty the King and with the follow-up of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister. The Minister expressed thanks to the Deputy Premier for visiting the ministry, praising his support to Bahraini cadres and all the ministry's projects. Bahrain International Circuit announced that all tickets for the Formula One Gulf Air Bahrain Grand Prix 2023, which will begin on March 3rd to 5th, are sold out. Ticket sales for 2023 reached record level for all types of tickets, as all tickets for platforms and guest halls were sold out. Bahrain International Circuit will welcome its largest international audience in its 19th year history, reflecting the enduring appeal of racing around the world. A few days separate the Kingdom of Bahrain from the launch of the largest sporting events, the Formula One Gulf Air Bahrain Grand Prix 2023, amid distinguished preparations with the cooperation of all parties in the Kingdom of Bahrain. More in this report.
The Bahrain International Circuit is considered the home of motorsports in the Middle East, and it is witnessing during these days its preparations for the start of the Bahrain Formula One Gulf Air Grand Prix and continuation of the distinguished level achieved by the kingdom in the field of sports. Such a huge event requires great efforts according to the highest standards and plans set for its success, and this is indeed what all the ministries and authorities in the kingdom are doing in terms of facilitating the work of visas, facilitating transit from Bahrain International Airport, and ensuring traffic safety. The event will witness a wide range of accompanying entertainment events, which have been carefully selected, including hosting a number of the world's most famous musical artists. All the ministries and authorities of the Kingdom of Bahrain are looking forward to the success of this race, which reflects the strong status of Bahrain on the international map.
Attorney General Dr. Ali bin Fadl al-Buainin attended the launch ceremony of the Special Investigation Unit's website and its second annual report. The Attorney General praised the technical level of the website, which comes within the framework of implementing the digital transformation strategy and aims to develop the judicial services. He also praised the unit's role in implementing the constitutional principles, guaranteeing human rights, and in achieving criminal justice. Bahrain's ambassador to the Kingdom of Denmark, Abdullah Faisal Jabr Doseri, submitted his credentials to Danish Crown Prince Frederick Andre Henrik Christian as non-resident ambassador. The ambassador conveyed greetings from His Majesty the King and His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister to Her Majesty Queen Margaret Alexandrine Thor Hildur Ingrid of Denmark. He stressed the importance of supporting bilateral relations linking the two countries and developing joint cooperation across all fields. The Crown Prince of Denmark extended Her Majesty Queen Margaret's greetings to His Majesty the King and to His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, stressing the importance of furthering joint cooperation. The Planning and Urban Development Authority affirmed that statistics showed a tangible progress in the completion of plans, as 35 detailed plans were completed during 2022. The authorities also affirmed the start of the implementation of 3 schemes and the completion of 24 schemes during this year. The authority worked to regulate the status of real estate in these plans and provide roads, networks, infrastructure and services in a way that contributes to increasing the balance of land prepared for construction and reconstruction in the Kingdom of Bahrain. Bahrain participated in a high-level conference on the humanitarian crisis in Yemen, which was held in Geneva. Bahrain's permanent representative to the UN, Ambassador Dr. Yusuf Abdul Karim Bouchiri, stated that based on Bahrain's steadfast stance in support of Yemen, His Majesty the King directed to construct a fully equipped cardiology center with continued communication and coordination regarding the provision of technical support and the provision of possible relief through urgent medical aid. He added that the kingdom confirms its full support to the Presidential Leadership Council, headed by Dr. Rashad Al-Alemi, and the support agencies to achieve security and stability in Yemen. He stressed Bahrain's support for the endeavors of the Secretary General's envoy to Yemen to end the crisis and reach a comprehensive political solution. The ambassador praised Saudi Arabia's sincere and continuous effort to achieve security, stability, and peace in Yemeni lands.